What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Valiant, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. And today, I'm going to get into what's going on with the Knicks early in the season. It hasn't gotten off to the start that everybody has been hoping for, but I'm here to reassure you that everything is all right. I'll get into all of it on the other side of the intro. Hit it.
DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! At the wall, he jumps. It's gone. He did it. He did it. Pete Alonso with the most memorable home run of his career.
All right, getting into the episode. Just a little early season check-in on the Knicks. And they haven't been off to the hottest start by any measure. Jalen hasn't really had it like he did in the playoffs last year, early this season. I'm not going to say he's been underwhelming, but I certainly thought he would have come out of the gates a little bit hotter, especially by the way he finished last year. And with the Cat trade and the McHale trade, I said this after opening night. I said it's going to take time for these guys to build chemistry, and they're not going to be in midseason form, and this team is not done growing. Like, there's still so much time left in this season. Like, the Knicks are only 7-8 games in. I'm not worried about anything team-wise. The thing I am worried about is that our starters are playing all 38-plus minutes, and ironically, never mind. Cat only played 32 minutes last night. But besides Cat, Josh Hart was the lowest with 38, and everybody else besides Josh Hart and Cat played 40-plus minutes in the starting five. So Jalen, McHale, and OG played 40-plus minutes last night. That's not good for Game 7. Like, this is the thing with Tibbs. People want to blame all the injuries on him. Fine. Last year, I don't blame that on Tibbs. This year, if it happens again and he's running his guys into the ground, like against the Pistons, Cat came into the game with around 6 minutes to go while the Knicks were up 30. If everybody's injured in April and May this year, yes, I will put some blame on Tibbs. I absolutely will. But for now, I'm going to give Tibbs a pass, and I'm going to continue to trust him because he's done quite a bit of winning. But these rotations, they don't need to be so tight. The Knicks don't need to be running an 8-man rotation on November 4th. Like, why is Sims playing 60 minutes? And let me get to the Jericho Sims conversation real quick. Why is Jericho Sims in the rotation? Period. I get you're without Precious, and I get what you're without Mitch. But you have a guy in Ariel Huckporty on the bench who has shown that he could be potentially a serviceable third-string center or forward, front court piece off the bench. Like, the bench, once Precious and Mitch come back, it's going to be Precious the top guy in the front court off the bench. But I think Jericho Sims is going to stay in the rotation. But he shouldn't. It should be Huckporty. Huckporty has shown promise in about the 10 minutes he's played in the NBA. He has not played enough in the NBA whatsoever. I mean, Tibbs is always reluctant to play rookies, and I get that. And I know he's not going to change his style in that aspect. And that's all right. I get the rookies. They have to learn. They have to start somewhere. They're not going to start in year one. But at some point, like, why not try Tyler Kolek in the start of April? Why not start Pacolum Dadier, who was a first-round pick? Why not play him in the first week of November when he showed promise in the preseason? Why not throw those guys out there? But Tibbs has this style, and he's militant in the way he runs his rotation. He treats game 1 and game 82 and whatever and beyond that like it's game 7 of the NBA Finals. And yeah, you like that attitude sometimes when the Knicks steal a couple wins, steal a win here, steal a win there. But when you're playing the Rockets or you're playing the Pistons on November 3rd, you don't need to be seeing your second best player check back in the game up 30. And you want to see the rookies. You want to see what they have to offer. Because who knows? Maybe Sims or maybe Cole could turn into a rookie of the year candidate. Maybe Dadier could do something. Maybe Huck Porty could be your backup center. Instead, we have to see Jericho Sims out there. The only two things that he can do, and the only two reasons that he's on an NBA roster, is that he's got great size and he's crazy athletic. Other than that, what does Sims bring to the table? It's nothing. He brings nothing to the table. There is no talent whatsoever with Jericho Sims. He can jump really high and he can dunk, and that's about it. And I don't even know. Some nights he can't dunk. So Huck Porty should be getting some kind of minutes, even if he's splitting time with Sims for now, and then Tibbs turns it into a little bit of a position battle, and he plays both of them through maybe December, maybe New Year's. And then he chooses who his center is going to be. But there's no reason they need to be running an 8-man rotation right now, man. There's no reason for it. I know there's a method behind Tibbs' madness. I just want to know what it is. Because he's been a successful head coach in the NBA. He's never won a finals, which that's the big one, but he has won plenty of regular season games and a good amount of playoff games. So I'm going to stick with Tibbs for now, but if this continues and something happens in April or something happens in May when a lot of our guys are injured again, I'm not going to make the excuse that that's a fluke like I did this past season. I'm blaming it on Tibbs this year. All right, let me get to the Brunson Towns coexistence kind of sharing the court. Both of them want to score a lot. This is just something I saw last night. It's not. It'll get worked out. This is again just building chemistry and things of that nature. But last night I saw too much of Brunson ISO ball down the stretch of that game. JB, I love JB. He's awesome player. Obviously, he's the captain. He's the best player on the team. Top 7 player in the NBA. But he has to learn to share the rock in clutch situations. He doesn't have a Julius Randle who's just going to take a shot if he gets the ball. It doesn't matter what kind of shot it is late in games. Cat will spread the ball around if he finds an open man. Jalen never had that luxury with Julius, and he always wanted to play hero ball. That won't work this year. Jalen was double teamed at all times in the fourth quarter last night, and I will expect at some point he could even see a triple team. Like, that's just the elite level of scorer Jalen Brunson is, but he has to learn to share the rock late in fourth quarters. Like, someone is always open when you're double team. That's stuff you learn in 5th grade. You got to share the rock. You got to swing the ball. You've got people on your team who can score. You're not playing on the same team that you were in Dallas when you were playing with the second unit, and you were obviously the best player on that team. You've got very capable people surrounding talent now. Your teammates are leaps and bounds better than they ever were. This starting 5 for the Knicks is among the best in the league. Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Karl Anthony Towns. You got 2 elite wing defenders, and Mikal can knock down the 3. Like, that's the thing. Mikal is the epitome of a 3-and-D guy, and more of just a two-way player, because his mid-range game is it's towards the top of the league. And I'm not disrespecting OG scoring like this. OG can score the rock. It's just not his forte. Jalen has teammates who can score. Josh has shown that he can knock down threes when he doesn't hesitate. Let me just get to a side note on Josh Hart real quick. When Josh Hart catches the ball in motion and he goes straight up for a 3, his 3 is money. Cash money. But when he hesitates and he pump fakes and he looks around, he tries to swing the ball. Yeah, it's the right basketball play. But that's not something he needs to be doing. He should just be going up. I trust him as a 3-point shooter. I think Tibbs trusts him as a 3-point shooter enough for him to shoot threes and not get killed for it. and not ruin his reputation for it. Josh Hart is allowed to shoot threes and he's allowed to miss threes. It happens. But when he does catch that ball and he goes right up, absolutely money. But getting back to what I was saying about Jalen and his hero ball, it's got to stop. He's got to swing the ball around. He's got to share. Sharing is caring, as Clyde likes to say. And some of those shots were unacceptable last night. Like going for a layup and getting double teamed, you probably have Josh open under the rim. You probably have Cat open under the rim. You got to find these guys. And the thing is now, Cat is a more than sufficient 3-point shooter. He is one of the better 3-point shooters in the entire sport. So you have to be looking for him at all times. I know this is going to be an adjustment for Jalen because he's never played with a big who can shoot like Cat can. And I don't count Julius Randle because, yeah, he was a power forward, but he tried to play like a guard. Karl Anthony Towns is a true center, but he can also stroke the three ball. Jalen's got to give the ball up. And let me just say this. I'm not worried with Jalen. Jalen's fine to me. This is just something I want to see throughout the rest of the year. I know I've harped on it for 3-4 minutes now, but he's good. He's good in my eyes. It's just last night, and I've seen it a couple times this year. He's got to give the ball up a little bit. There's no big deal with that. All right. Let me get to the Matt Ryan signing. Matt Ryan got selected first overall in the G League draft to the Westchester Knicks, but the Knicks needed to sign 2 more people to their active roster. They signed Matt Ryan to a standard contract. They signed Ariel Huckporty to a 2-year standard deal, and they also signed Boo Booey. I think that's how you pronounce his name, to a 2-way contract. But Matt Ryan's the one I want to focus on. I think Matt Ryan has a chance to extend this rotation, bring more shooting off the bench, because right now your guards off the bench in a normal rotation, it's McBride and Campaign. I think Matt Ryan will play valuable minutes off the bench just because of how much it took the Knicks to sign him. And his shooting, he's the white boy knockdown shooter, the JJ Redick, the Austin Reeves. He just stands there, knocks down threes, doesn't do much else, plays some good defense. But I think because of how much it took the Knicks to get him, I would assume that Tibbs really wanted him and Leon was willing to make that happen for Tibbs. So I would expect to see 3 guards off the bench. This could push the Knicks to a 9-man rotation, potentially 10, which that would be a miracle. If Tibbs ran a 10-man rotation, I think, I don't know what would happen next. It would be something would be going on with Tibbs. If he ran Huckporty, Sims, Deuce, Campaign, whose jumper is ugly. His jumper's disgusting. His feet are parallel to the bench, or his feet are perpendicular to the bench, and he's shooting at the rim from top of the key. Whew. He'll be good. I think he's just in a slump right now, and then once he starts knocking down those threes, I'm going to stop complaining, obviously. But Matt Ryan will bring an element of 3-point shooting. He will bring an element of defense. At the Knicks, they haven't been lacking it, but it could also always help. You can never have enough perimeter defense. And it'll bring some more size to the backcourt of the bench unit because neither Campaign or Deuce McBride are big guys. They're both scrappy and they're both tough, but they're not the biggest guys in the world. Like the Knicks guards outside of McHale, there's not much size there. I mean, Jalen's about 6 foot. Campaign's not much taller, and neither is Deuce McBride. Matt Ryan, I think he's around 6'3", 6'4", so that would be good to get off the bench on perimeter defense because I think McHale's the guy that plays with the second unit. He fills that RJ Barrett role. RJ Barrett used to do that a lot where he would start the game and then he'd play with the second unit until Julius is ready, and then they'd sub the whole starting unit back in. But that's the role McHale is playing right now. He's playing elite defense. He's scoring at a high level now. And suddenly nobody's complaining about Mikal Bridges. But Matt Ryan will be able to come in as a third guard off the bench, maybe cut down on some campaign minutes. I don't want to see Deuce any of his minutes get taken away because he's been tremendous to start this year. But overall, I think the Knicks are in a good spot. They're 500, which isn't going to do it in a couple months, but until December 15th, I'll say, hovering around 500, a little bit over 500. That's where I want to be, because last year that's where the Knicks were until they made the OG Anunoby trade. And do I think they're going to make another trade as impactful as the OG trade? Absolutely not. But I do think that there's always the chance that they could make a trade for a role player like Josh Hart and then go on a ridiculous run like they did with OG and with Josh Hart, because a lot of people don't remember this, but the Knicks were in the midst of a 9-game winning streak when Josh Hart arrived. And then you know what happened with OG, 20-3 with him in the lineup last year. And the rest is history. So Leon has been good about making these trades that no one sees. Well, the OG trade kind of people saw coming, but um, but overall, he doesn't make super impactful trades in the season, but they always spark some kind of run. So I'm waiting for that trade this year, and I'm waiting to see what happens. Let me just wrap the episode up with this. I'm not worried about the Knicks. I think they're gonna be fine. I think they're gonna still be the 2 or 3 seed. But thus far in the year, I have not seen what I wanted. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Bally. Make sure you go check out all my links, all my socials linked in the description below. Leave a like, comment on this video, subscribe or follow based on what platform you're on. And most importantly, make sure you keep it locked with the Sports Pod.